Hey Siri, I think Google is better than you.
Bitch, please.
Yo guys, what is going on? So here is the HomePod Mini, and I quite liked it. I haven't gotten my hands on it. Unboxing was pretty nice, pretty simple, but overall quality is high up there. It's a nice piece of tech, and it's at the standards that you would expect an Apple product to be at. It feels good. It's made out of this like nice fabric, and you got that screen on top, and you have a high quality braided cable, but it isn't removable. But other than that, it's your typical classical Apple unboxing experience. The cable is USB-C, so it does come with a power adapter, unlike the iPhones. Yeah, pretty nice. It looks pretty nice, and I'm kind of excited about that screen. It's probably the coolest and nicest, cleanest design for any smart speaker that I've personally seen, so I really like it. And overall build quality is high. I'm going to elaborate on all of this later though. And this setup is pretty simple. I love that screen. It looks so clean, especially with that space gray, the way it just contrasts. And with the setup, you just bring in your iPhone, you do a few things, doesn't take too long, just accept, do the, whatever, whatnot, and then...
Welcome to HomePod. You can't tell, but I'm waving. To get my attention, say, "Hey Siri."
Hey Siri, how are you?
Hi there. I feel good. Thanks for asking.
Now, something that I came to learn is that when it comes to Siri's voice, there's a lack of bass. Now, in terms of the music that the HomePod Mini can produce, it can produce good bass, but in terms of Siri's voice, it is missing a bit of bass. In fact, it's very high, which is, I don't know, it's something I don't like. Hey Siri, how are you?
Hello. I'm fine. Thanks.
Now, if I was to elaborate on the whole design thing, I really like the design, and it's very minimal, yet it's very unique, and I think a big part of that unique thing is the screen, and they use the screen as a part of the aesthetics more, I feel, than it is for the function. Like, they could add so many functional purposes to that screen, such as, showing the time when you need to, the weather, etc. But all it really does is pause and volume skip, go back, that kind of thing. But it does look super nice with those Siri animations when you're talking to it, and when music's playing, it just makes it look much better. It's very minimal, and it's my favorite design smart speaker. But what I feel is that it's not the most universal design. Like, I think you could find that it's not gonna fit into any design place. Like, it has to really suit the theme of the room. Whereas something like the Google Home Mini, I love the design of that as well. It's even more minimal, even more simpler, and I feel like that will fit anywhere. Whereas this, it just something about it needs to fit a certain environment. But don't worry about it if you don't care about it, and maybe it does fit your environment, so it doesn't matter. But then from build quality, build is on point. It's made of this like fabric, which is pretty solid, pretty nice, no complaints there. And then you got the screen on top, which is actually a plastic screen. Now, I didn't know this by using it. I just knew this as a fact from beforehand. But it doesn't feel like plastic. Like, that could be glass for all I know. But it is a plastic screen. But it's Apple. Build quality, as per usual, feels super premium, super solid. It's got a braided cable, which is really nice. So hopefully the cable will age well. But it is annoying because the cable isn't removable. If you ever do want to remove it for whatever reason, I would want to remove it. Now, when it comes to Siri, personally, Siri is my least favorite assistant. He's not the smartest, but if you know that you're not going to be pushing the limits with your smart speaker, for me, to be honest, all I really ask for is the time, maybe set an alarm, the weather, turn on the lights every now and then. Other than that, I really barely ever ask for anything, maybe some math calculations, and that's about it. And Siri can handle all that. So if you're not going to push your assistant, then Siri's absolutely fine. Especially if you have an iPhone, then Siri will work with the Siri in your phone, and there will be some integration there, and that will be very helpful. But something about Siri that I noticed with HomePod is that for some reason in his voice there isn't much bass. There's like a serious lack of bass with Siri's voice, which I don't know why that is. The HomePod can produce good bass, just not when Siri's talking, so it can sound a little bit empty sometimes. But talking about Siri and smart things, the way you can connect smart accessories to your HomePod is through HomeKit, which is Apple's smart home app. And HomeKit is a pain in the ass to use. You need to get some code, and if you don't have the code, you gotta do some weird ass other thing as well. You gotta figure out how to do it. It's really annoying. Whereas with Google, all I gotta do is, I got LifeX bulbs. All I gotta do is sign into my LifeX account on the Google Home app. That simple. I wish it was that simple with Apple. But a good thing about HomeKit is once you've got it set up, the response between HomeKit and the smart accessory is so quick. If I press turn on the light on HomeKit app, the light turns on like pretty much instantly. There's a bit of delay with Google, but Apple doesn't have that delay. Now, a cool feature is intercom. It's like broadcast on Google. It's nothing new, just showing it off. It could be like, hey Siri, intercom, you guys should subscribe to the channel. You guys should subscribe to the channel. See? Pretty simple. But also, like, my favorite feature about this device is the way you can transfer music from your iPhone to the HomePod. This is by far my favorite feature. I'm listening to music, all I do is I tap the HomePod with the phone and it transfers straight to the HomePod instantly. And when I want it back on my phone, I tap it again and it's back on my phone. This feature I've used all the time and I really, really like it. But one nitpick with it, and it's kind of annoying, is that it's really hard to find a location where you have to tap. Like, it's a specific place, and sometimes it works instantly if I'm lucky. Sometimes I need to like tap the HomePod a few times until it works. Another final kind of cool thing is that you can use the HomePods with your MacBooks as well as your iPhones. And if you have like 2 HomePod Minis, for example, you can use them as dual speakers for your MacBook. So you can get 2 HomePod Minis on your desk, one on each side, and connect it to your MacBook very, very quickly, and you can use them as dual speakers. That's pretty nice. And so you're able to build a really nice ecosystem of HomePods, and if you use Apple devices, it ends up working out really, really, really well. But then that brings me onto the sound quality of this device, and this is why I think Apple have kind of raised that price tag. I mean, partly because they're Apple, but also because the sound quality in this thing is better than any other small smart speaker I've ever heard. The bass is good, the trebles, whatever. I'm not an audiophile, but I can tell when something sounds good, and this is a good example of that. But you can only really tell when the volume is high. So if you're going to keep the volume relatively low all the time, then you won't be able to appreciate it as much. But the way I describe it is very, very full and very, very crispy. Like, you can hear the details. Now, to conclude, it's a really nice smart speaker. But I feel like if you were using Google, you would have more flexibility in every sense. With the Google Home, it's cheaper, so you have more flexibility in terms of how many Google Homes you can get. It's easier to connect to smart accessories, and they have more support for smart accessories. The app is accessible from Android, everything. Music works with Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. Apple is kind of more restricted, and they want you to adapt to their ways. And if you're not adapted to their ways, then tough. You probably shouldn't buy the product. But then that's kind of my conclusion, right? If you want the flexibility, if you're caring more about that kind of smart home, smart speaker in every room, I feel like Google Home is the better way to go. But you got money to spend. You're tied into that Apple ecosystem. You got a MacBook, you got an iPhone. You want maybe 1, 2, 3 HomePods, maybe. To throw in a room or 2, then you won't regret the buy, put it that way. And if you're using it all the time, it's going to be a very, very nice use. The sound quality is like no other, and the compatibility with iPhone is also like no other. And it does make a difference to the whole user experience, and it will just make you feel like, alright, that was a nice £100 spent or dollars spent. Is it worth it? But you know what? If you're tied into that Apple ecosystem, then I don't think you'll regret the buy. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, 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 please subscribe if you haven't already. I want to get 10K by January. Also, give this video a like and comment because it helps with the algorithm. And check out my Instagram at the El-Naggar for a behind the scenes perspective. And you get to see me work my magic, kind of cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Salam.